sir.
Good afternoon, Michael.
Welcome on board on today's episode on talking about what's happening in the council, Middlesbrough, life, experience, reality, everything about politics down to the society and the environment around us. Every conventional issue that needs to be discussed, you get it on this platform. So thank you, sir, for joining us today. We're in again today on a very exciting conversation. I hope it's going to be interesting. Do you have any words for us before we go in?
Yeah, I just want to say it's good to be here. We just had our council meeting last week, and I'm pleased to say that we passed a motion in the council to condemn the violence, the riots, the racism that happened on the 4th of August. So the whole council passed a motion to condemn it, and it's good that we are on record that Middlesbrough Council condemns all the violence that erupted on that day.
Wow, that's wonderful. Speaking of that, I think I saw a short clip of yours on YouTube, when you're having a wonderful speech about the issue. You guys can check that up on his YouTube channel. He has had a wonderful speech on that same issue, on the condemnation of the violence that happened on the 4th of August. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for the work you put in to make sure you have this heart-to-heart conversation with the people. I think one of the most important aspects of being a councillor is the ability to be accessible, which that's what you offer us on this platform. I'm sure probably have not seen this kind of level of accessibility and openness from a councillor in a very long time. You're using the social media platform well to pass across this message. So thank you so much, sir. On today's conversation, we're having a brief conversation on drugs and its effects on the development of this area. What are the concerns of it from the councillor's perspective and the council's perspective? What are the efforts that the council are making to make sure it's being mitigated? And are they efforts? If they are, what are they? And what will be the words you give to someone that's struggling with drugs and that really wants to stop, or someone that is just hooked on it and don't have a way to go from it, from your experience? And I think from your experience with mental health, your experience with the council, your experience with the youths, experience with everybody really in this area, what would you say? What would be your comments on them, on drugs and society?
Yeah, drugs is a big issue in Newport and in Middlesbrough at large. Of course, there are different types of drugs. There are drugs that are prescribed by the doctors to help people with their illness. There are drugs that are not supposed to be taken by people without a prescription. And all different types of drugs. But it's true that in Newport we've got a big problem of drugs around. Children, youth, younger people, older people all access drugs that are not prescribed. And that drug, for example, if you take such a drug when it's not on prescription, it can turn out to be undesirable. The effects that it causes on you is really, really, really bad. I've had reports that neighbors are suffering of noise, they're suffering of misbehavior, they're suffering of things that when people take drugs do without knowing it, they are doing it. That's the problem. That when you take drugs, sometimes you do things without realizing that what you are doing is bad. So, and you end up offending your neighbors in terms of noise, shouting, and even going to the extent of even urinating around the area instead of going to the toilet. So drugs are a big problem in Newport, to an extent that our social and economic development is going down, because people don't want to live in the area, because they don't want to live near people who are on drugs. Yes, I've seen people who are trying to get off drugs, who are doing their best, of which the council, we leaders, we need to support them, because sometimes people get hooked on drugs either through peer pressure, and if they think that they can try to get off the drugs, I think the council, we leaders, should support them. And I've seen them, quite many, who are trying their best to get off drugs, and there are programs in the council that we follow. But of course, those programs have to be followed by the individuals. If there's a plan and a program, we ask the individual to follow it up closely, step by step. There's no room to lapse. There's no room to skip a stage. But yes, I've seen them who are trying, and I think we're supporting them. But again, I've seen those who try to get off of drugs, and they've gone back. But the disadvantages of having drugs around the town, around our home, is that it can affect life, it can affect development, it can affect economical emancipation. It brings this place down in terms of no development. Nobody wants to come and live and work in that area. So yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's just I like the approach you came, because I kind of made it broad. I said drugs, and you think it came from an perspective about talking about drugs as drugs naturally itself is not good. Like medicine itself is not bad, but it's what we call it drug abuse. The abuse, like I know that when the purpose of something is not known, abuse is paramount. It's almost unavoidable. So it's something that's already eating deep into the environment, into the society of Middlesbrough, Newport region. And I like the aspect you brought about, the council are willing to support. And you spoke about programs. Is there any active support channel or a program at the moment that the council are mobilizing? Because having said that, in as much as they need to be businesses, they need to be open businesses, they need to build roads, they need to do all that, is important. But you're building that for people, and people that are talking about in question now, a certain amount of population of those people are ravaged with the high infuse of drug abuse, and it's definitely affecting the youths and affecting everybody across age. So we can literally see them around the environment. So is there any conscious efforts, any conscious program the council is working on, or a sub-council, or a sub-group, or something, a package that the government is working on to help people? Is there a class, a lecture, a relief fund, or what?
I think all the support at the moment is there, and at the moment the council is giving that support through an organization called Recovery Connection. They've got a designed program of approach to make sure that people who are abusing drugs can get support. And again, there is a plan of opening up a Live Well center in the town center. Again, to try what part of that is to help people, those who are on drugs, who want to get off the drugs, to make sure they support, to make sure that the support is accessible. But the most important thing is accessibility. and that we hope and we thought that having such a space in the town center will help. Of course, there's some challenges. People thinking, why you bringing those people in the town center? That would drive away footfall of people coming to town to buy things. But it's our responsibility to make sure that we look after these people. We look after the people who are suffering from drug abuse. We think it's not a good reason to put them or meet us somewhere in the corner of the town or at the borders of the town. I think it's better we handle this thing heads on, come closer to town where everybody can come, and I'm sure there will be security, there will be people manning the place, make sure that no problem happens. But yeah, problems are there. And if you talk about the police, then the police is always on standby in case of any. Because when people would ask the question, but where are those drugs coming from? Yeah, the police is always on standby. They're always using their intelligence to get to who brings those drugs in. We've had many farms closed in Newport. People, cultivating cannabis in Newport, and the police have always got that intelligence to shut them down. But again, still, it all comes from we residents to be ears to the ground for the police to make sure that we report everything. It's about reporting what you see, what you hear. If you see young boys because at the moment, those drug lords, they use young people to transport medicine, drugs to people to buy them. Country lines. Have you heard of country lines? Country lines when young people are being used to sell drugs, because they know the younger people cannot. When they go to jail, they'll only be maybe 2 to a few months because they're young. So they use them. So young people need to watch out not to be used by those drug lords to sell their drugs. So if you see a younger person doing it, report them to police. You see something, because they use cars all the time, and bicycles, people riding bicycles from one place to another quickly, and sell and give check, making sure that nobody is seeing them. But we see them. But if you see somebody and you are not sure where he lives, those people who ride bicycles in our areas and you never seen them before, yes, tell the police, and then something can be done quickly.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. It's quite an eye opener the way you presented this situation. But as you were speaking off the script, something just came into my head about I think something we might be missing about this conversation of drugs, and we might have spoken about it one way indirectly. One thing leads to one thing about the economy, one thing about society is that like it's like a spiral economy, like everything connects to something. And speaking of that, I'm wondering, we talk about drug abuse. What are the major causes of drug abuse? Because when you come to a region like this, where supposedly the job percentage, job opportunities percentage is quite low, not as high as maybe other cities. These things are quite almost permissible. Like it's like when people, I don't think you're an employer of labor. I don't think any well-thinking employer of labor will actively open job opportunities for people that are actively drawn to drugs. Because it's not even a thing of I'm pushing them aside. It's like, how can they perform if you're looking for productivity? Someone like spent. So what I'm saying is, why I'm giving this level of presentation, this entrance, is that the people that are hooked up on drugs, you find hooked up on drugs, are kind of jobless. they don't have something activity, because I think one of the effects of drug abuse is going to be, you're not busy, you're just not doing anything, you find the next. There is popular saying that I do manage there was workshop, something like that. So in this situation, that's what's happening. So what would you say? What are the major pinpoints you can say are the major causes or effects of causes of drug abuse in the Newport region?
No, you're right. I think drugs affect most of the people who are not working, and always poverty leads to people thinking of doing things in a very stupid way, if I could use that word. That's what people think. But when they take drugs, they'll forget all about their miseries. So people are suffering. People have nothing to eat. People have, if anything, that's why you see where the people who are taking drugs, they're always skinny. Yeah, I mean they're skinny because for them taking it, smoking will make them feel that everything is okay. That's why they can do whatever they can do without knowing they are doing it. So again, it's because of lack of what to do that people start thinking of taking drugs. And yes, you are right. Sometimes we don't see this kind of thing in big cities where there's a lot of economic activity and progression, because people don't have time to involve themselves in such a device, or what people are looking at is how can I develop, how can I go further. But when people reach a point where they don't care what is coming next, what's coming tomorrow, all what you are thinking about is today. How can I go through now? How can I go through today? And if I can pay this much, but I don't think they pay thousands and thousands of pounds to get drugs. I think they pay little money, and that's always, whenever you pay little thing, it goes a long way, and people don't care. So because as you pay little thing, because you get an addiction, and that addiction keeps asking you to give more, do more, and because it's not thousands of pounds, always I normally see people begging for a pound or two, because that's how much money. I don't think that's what they pay for to be right. But if you count that in days, in month, just even if it's £5 in days, in month, in years, it's quite it's quite out of money. So yeah, because of lack of progress, lack of advancement, lack of thinking that I can be better in life. That's what's that's what is really forcing people to start taking drugs. And the moment you start taking drugs, the addiction kicks in. For you to stop, it becomes a problem, and you will need another medical or psychological intervention. That's where sometimes the council comes in to see if you can help. But yes, and it's about lack of forward-looking, lack of progress, lack of interest in the town, lack of interest in what you're doing, lack of interest in your children, lack of interest in everything that you only live for today. And I just need people say, I need something just to make sure to help me to sleep. Yeah.
It's very. Thank you so much, sir, for that. We just always uncover conversations like this, open up new topics and new gray areas, and the idea of living just for today. Sometimes I will always say it's a two-way thing. It's the two sides of the coin conversation. living for today helps. Like most times, I use that as a mantra for me. Like because sometimes you can get anxious of life and everything is happening. Especially in this season where you're applying for jobs, you're doing this, you're trying to get out of this, better for yourself, and sometimes it gets overwhelming, and then you're thinking of okay, let me just take it one day at a time. So I think in that aspect of living in the moment is alright. I think it's okay. But then the other aspect of it too, which is like you want to live in the moment, you just want to just because if in as much as we're trying to live in the moment, we're projecting the years to come, projecting months to come, because of the projection of time. You are working actively to lead those, like preparing yourself to get to that level. So like a two-way thing, but that's not the opinion anybody that is probably cutting themselves into unfortunately into drugs. It's like I want to just find that feeling that will take me off that feeling, that euphoria, that dopamine effect of just now. So I think this is a conversation that we'll certainly have another day. Definitely a follow-up conversation from this to understand, uncover realities, and maybe next time will be we have maybe psychologists around. Can have a session with and they offer like more professional advice, to help people. So do you have anything we have missed? Anything that you want to add? Anything you want to share about maybe incoming activities? Or anything like that?
Yes, it's true. Newport Ward is suffering from drug issues. Community members are frustrated about people who are abusing drugs, and they are in our community because of the way they behave, because of the way they do things. But equally, those who are trying their best to get off drugs need our support, and I think the council is trying itself. We are trying our best to see that we give that support through different organizations around the town. It's also true that our younger people are being driven into that trade of drugs, and it's not helping them to grow or to become better. So we really need to work hard. We need to make sure that your children are not targeted into that device. It's very, very important that we keep our children safe. There is support. The police gives out of support, and the police can also give you support in terms of when you report to them. They can always help you. They can always help to investigate and make sure we get to the bottom of where this is coming from. Now, regarding what to do, what am I doing? Yes, I continue to do my job. I attend meetings, committee meetings with the council. I continue to work in the ward to make sure that I check what's happening, work in the alleys, make sure they are clean. Yes, sometimes if I find that the alleys are not clean, I report everything to the council. Of course, I can't dictate the response of the council. My job is to report. My job to escalate and raise issues. My job is not to clean. Yeah. So I continue to do that. We continue to think, to discuss, to have a discussion on what to do when it comes to the recovery from the riots. It's a big topic that we are discussing, we as leaders, to make sure that everyone is catered for. Of recent, there has been a release of information on what to do when it comes to getting compensation. So the letters, the forms are online. People can fill them and then see if they can compensate it. So yeah, we're doing everything.
Thank you so much, sir, for all the wonderful advice, the wise words you have given us. I think another thing I just want to add from the summary from what you just said is about parents looking after their kids. Is that it's a collective responsibility for everybody to make sure that the society is safe. And even if society is not where it is today, where we want it to be ideal society, whatever is an ideal society for every progressive minded individual, might not be experiencing that ideal society economically, socially right now. But the idea is that we're going to try for all those that have children, to create an environment and train them in a way, systematic training in a way whereby if we can't experience that ideal progressive environment today, certainly in a couple of years' time to come, when our children, when we might not be here anymore, or parents are not be there, but you have armed them with tools and resources to take that society to that level. I think that's the aim, and then any progress we are experiencing today from a decade or 2 decades ago is from the investment into people to get to a society like this. So, I think it's one thing that we should all look out for, with values and proper ways of thinking in heart. So thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful time today. Thank you for sharing us with lots of wisdom and updates of what's happening. Like I said, you're always that one touch point and accessible person that we have in the council to know what's happening. So thank you guys. See you guys next week on the next episode.
Much. Yeah. Thank you.